What's up, everybody? I think I am live. I'm gonna wait just a moment to see if anybody jumps on here. This is my first YouTube live stream ever, so we are making history today. As the title of this video says, the main thing I really want to share today is addressing New Age from a Catholic perspective. And the way I want to do this is by referencing a document that's actually from the Vatican. And I just came across this document a few months ago when I was doing some research on New Age spirituality. I actually had somebody comment as a suggestion for a future video topic that I talk about how New Age is creeping into the Catholic Church. And so, I mean, it's a topic that obviously I've been doing a lot of research on ever since I had my own reversion back to the Catholic Church out of the New Age. And so, I've done tons of research on the topic. I've read tons of articles. I've watched tons of videos. And, there's a lot of amazing content out there. But I was actually super surprised when I came across this document, which is an official document from the Vatican. And it was actually published in 2003. And I just now found it, like, again, a couple months ago. I don't remember where exactly I came across it, but it's the first time I ever came across it. And I haven't heard anybody else talk about it. And so I wanted to take the opportunity in this live stream, my first live stream, to point people to this document and really have this be a solid kind of foundational resource for anybody who is interested in the Catholic's perspective on New Age. I'm actually going to share my screen right now, and hopefully that works as well, because again, this is my first time doing this, but just to show you and show you what I'm talking about here. So let me just share my screen. Give me 1 second. All right, let me know if you guys can see this screen share. It's called Jesus Christ, the Bearer of the Water of Life, a Christian Reflection of the New Age. So again, this is on the Vatican's website. I'll actually drop the link in the comments as well for anybody who wants to check it out and follow along. I just dropped it in the comments for anybody who's interested. But again, I just want to go over this quickly. And it's a pretty long document. It's like a 90-page document. I have read through the entire thing. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to cover it fully by any means in this live stream. But again, I do want to at least bring it into the conversation as a really valuable reference and resource for anybody who's either coming out of the New Age like myself and now becoming Christian or Catholic, or any, just Christians or Catholics out there who want a solid, theologically sound perspective. And again, particularly from the Catholic perspective, from Catholic teaching on the New Age. But the main thing, again, that I wanted to highlight here is, well, actually, I'm going to share. Let me actually switch screens here if I can figure this out, how to do this quickly. And I do have a hard time stop at about 5:40 Pacific time. So I have about 25 minutes here because I do want to go to Stations of the Cross at my church tonight, which is at 6 o'clock. Rachel says it's visible. Thank you. I'm just actually switching it out now. So thanks for letting me know that you could see it. I want to share another screen now. Where is it? Yeah, this one. So this is the Wikipedia page that kind of just gives a little bit more background about the document. So again, it's this, it's called A Christian Reflection on the New Age, refers to a 6-year study by the Roman Catholic Church on the New Age movement. The study, published in 2003, is highly critical of the New Age movement and follows the 1989 document, Aspects of Christian Meditation, in which the Vatican warned Catholics against mixing Christian meditation with Eastern approaches to spirituality. And by the way, if you guys have any questions as I'm going through this, feel free to drop it in the comments as well. I'll try to address any questions as I can. But just to kind of quickly again give you a bit more of the background here, this Wikipedia page is a pretty good overview. The document's title is Jesus Christ, the Bearer of the Water of Life. The document discusses the encounter between Jesus and the Samaritan woman at the well, which it characterizes as a paradigm for our engagement with truth. So that's a pretty interesting thing that, yeah, at one point in the document, it makes that sort of provides the story of Jesus meeting the Samaritan woman at the well as an example of how to again it's like that's the example of how we want to evangelize to people. And it talks a lot about how it makes this comparison of um, this sort of image of people like shopping around at like a carnival of all these different religions, right? And New Age is like this weird conglomeration of all these different Eastern religions and philosophies. And as Christians, those of us who have found the living water, right? It's our duty and obligation, and we should joyfully be willing to share every opportunity we have and every encounter that we have with people around us, and particularly with those in the New Age, this living water, which again is what everybody is searching for. But anyway, just to continue on this, on the Wikipedia page here, the document considers the New Age based on weak thought, emphasizes the difference between Catholic thought and New Age. According to there's never any doubt in the document that New Age is incompatible with and hostile to the core beliefs of Christianity. So yeah, it's kind of interesting when I was reading the Wikipedia page, because after having read the document, what kind of stood out to me actually was that I thought the document actually did a really good job of kind of emphasizing that the people who tend to fall into New Age spirituality have a very genuine thirst for God. And I'm actually going to read a portion from the document now. Unfortunately, I thought I could switch between my screens really quickly, but it seems like each time to switch screens on the screen share, I have to close it and then whoops, see, I just accidentally did it there. My apologies again. Thank you guys for bearing with me. My first time doing this. So thank you for your patience. Let me pull up again at least one screen to have, but I'm going to be kind of switching back and forth between a few different tabs on my computer. And unfortunately, I don't think there's a way for me to, oh, okay, here we go. Window. This is what I wanted to do. All right, perfect. So this way, this is what I want to do. 1 second, guys. Thank you for your patience. All right, so now I can go back and forth. I have a few different tabs open here. In the foreword here on the actual document, I'm just going to read um, some of this here. So it says, it should be recognized that the attraction, I love this part right here. It should be recognized that the attraction that New Age religiosity, is that how you say that word? That's a tough word to say, has for some Christians may be due in part to the lack of serious attention in their own communities for themes which are actually part of the Catholic synthesis, such as the importance of man's spiritual dimension and its integration with the whole of life, the search for life's meaning, the link between human beings and the rest of creation, the desire for personal and social transformation, and the rejection of a rationalistic and materialistic view of humanity. And then it goes on to talk about how, as Christians, Catholics, we need to know and understand that New Age is a cultural current, the need for Catholics to have an understanding of authentic Catholic doctrine and spirituality in order to properly assess New Age themes. So I do want to just make a disclaimer. I want to pause for a moment as well and make a quick disclaimer that obviously, again, like relatively speaking, I'm arguably still like a baby Christian, right? I had my reversion. I gave my life to Christ it was on July 27th of 2022. And then I came back into the Catholic Church a few months after that. And so obviously there's still a lot that I'm learning. And I've recognized, and again, this document kind of highlights like in order to dialogue and engage with I mean, people of any different beliefs, but in this case, obviously, we're talking about New Agers. You have to have a very strong understanding and foundation in the Catholic Christian faith. And so, yeah, just a quick disclaimer that obviously, again, I'm, still learning a lot. That being said, because I had such a profound reversion experience, you know, I kind of went into my studying of the Catholic faith with such a high intensity, especially in the first year. And I mean, it still continues to this day. But within the first year, like it was a complete 180 in my life, right? I completely renounced all of my new age practices. I wanted nothing to do with it. And all I wanted to do was really deeply understand Christianity and Catholicism. And so you know, um, was immersing myself in the sacraments, in confession, in adoration, in scripture, and again just doing a lot of my own self study and research. And so I'm by no means an expert on any of these things, so I just obviously want to make that disclaimer. If I ever say anything that is wrong or incorrect, though, you can count on me to one, be open to that correction. And again, I want to really encourage this to hopefully be a dialogue and a conversation. And so that's why I'm excited to do a live stream. And again, for anybody who's here, please feel free to share your thoughts, your comments, and really, yeah, appreciate that dialogue and that back and forth. But yeah, just wanted to make a quick note on that. And looking at the time, it's 5:24. So yeah, there's a lot in this document. Again, obviously, I'm not going to have time, unfortunately, to go through all of it. But I do want to highlight a couple other parts that really I think are really important. And um, another piece is where it talks about when the understanding of the content, going back to what I was just saying before, when the understanding of the content of Christian faith is weak, some mistakenly hold that the Christian religion does not inspire a profound spirituality, and so they seek elsewhere. Again, I think this is the case for so many people, for so many young people. This was the case for me. When you don't find that, that again, like I think all humans have that deep longing and thirst for God inside of them. And if you're not finding it in your Christian faith, in your Catholic faith, then of course, kind of the natural response is to go look for it elsewhere. And again, it's been so beautiful for me since coming back to the Catholic Church and really diving so deeply into the fullness of, truth, goodness, and beauty in the Catholic Church. And seeing that again, everything I was searching for in New Age actually does exist in the Catholic faith. And it's just, that I think lack of awareness, lack of education, lack of people who are sharing, the authentic Catholic teachings in a way that is, really appealing to young people. I think that's what is lacking. And that's, largely part of what I'm hoping to do with this YouTube channel, with this YouTube ministry, so to speak. And again, really keeping in mind like what I wish I had heard 10 years ago. And so that's kind of, again, the intention and the approach that I'm taking to all of this. But just to continue going through this document a bit, and again, it's quite long, as you can see here. But there's yeah, just some really good stuff in here. And again, for me, um, it's one thing again to do my own research and to be in prayer and feel that I have things to share. But there's also been a hesitancy to, for example, even doing this live stream to how do I want to say this? There's been a bit of fear of saying the wrong thing, right? Um, of especially when it comes to the Catholic teaching and the Catholic faith, right? I'm so afraid of misleading people and misguiding people, especially, right? Because I know that I was so misled in the New Age. And so there's, I think, on the one hand, a very good, caution and desire to do my own research and to make sure, the things that I'm sharing are true. And again, also being open to correction, being open to, people who might, have been along their own Christian or Catholic, faith journey much longer than I have. Um, but again, the only reason why I'm bringing all that up is because it's nice to have this document again, which it's just like blows my mind that it took me a year to even find this document because I hadn't heard anybody talk about this before. And to kind of feel like I have something really solid to, go back to and to fall back on when I'm in this, process of navigating, like, what is the best way to evangelize, particularly to people in the New Age, and what is, again, the church's, the official Catholic perspective and stance on how to engage in that dialogue, right? So this document, again, I don't remember where I first came across it, but I think it was some other website or article I was reading, and they were referencing this document as like, this document gives you the proper pastoral response to New Age. And so again, that's why I wanted to share this with you guys today. My aunt Ethi says, please keep on teaching your insights. Thank you very much. I'm doing my best. So God be praised. So far on the channel, there has been, it's been very encouraging seeing the messages and the responses and the comments that I've been getting from people. And the growth has been slow but steady, I would say. It's been about 4 months since I posted my first video, which was my my full testimony video. And as I shared a couple weeks ago on the community tab. So if you go to my channel, actually, since I'm just kind of experimenting and playing around with all of this streaming software right now, I may as well bring that up as well to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about in case anybody's not aware. So if you go to my channel, if you go to the community tab, I post some updates and stuff there too as well, in case you guys haven't seen those updates. So for example, actually just a couple of days ago, I actually did a live streamed interview with this girl, Teresa Llaneros. And that was actually a really great interview. She's also Catholic. So I was super stoked when we connected on Instagram because she was the first other Catholic content creator I've come across who has also come out of the New Age. And so we talk about that a bit in the interview, how pretty much all the other like ex-New Agers, New Age to Jesus, like content creators are all Protestant or like non-denominational Christians. And so, we had a really great conversation. Highly recommend checking that interview out if you're interested on her channel. And so that was my first live stream on YouTube. That was on her channel though. So she invited me onto her channel using this StreamYard software. And I've done other live streams like back when I was running my online life coaching business on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. But again, this is my first time ever doing a live stream on my YouTube channel. So anyway, going down my point, and I'll get to this later in the live stream. Meant to mention that actually at the beginning of the live stream, but I did get to meet Ruslan, who, if you're not familiar with Ruslan, he's one of the biggest Christian YouTubers right now. And I've been following his content for probably since like as soon as I had my reversion back to Christianity, because again, he has tons of amazing content, YouTube content, talking about it's mostly like cultural topics and from a Christian lens. So it was super cool. I got to meet him last weekend, and I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of this live stream. I think I have like 10 minutes. So the last like few minutes of this stream, I'll kind of talk about meeting him and what I learned from meeting him and his advice to me. So we'll get to that to the end. So make sure to stick around to the end for that. But the other thing I was going to point out was the update I gave. When was it? Yeah, this update. So a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I shared how I should have shared this earlier, but better late than never. When I started this YouTube channel, I told myself I was going to commit um, to making videos on this channel as a 6-month experiment. And then after those 6 months, I would reevaluate and discern whether or not to continue. And so I wanted to share this because I didn't want to feel the pressure to have to continue on this channel indefinitely or to worry about disappointing anybody if I did end up deciding not to continue after those 6 months are up. And so again, this was a couple months ago. I'm about 4 months in now. And when I made the post, it was kind of like 50-50. But again, like I just wanted to reiterate, like I'm committed to seeing the 6-month, experiment through, and then I would reevaluate at the end of those 6 months. I would say at this point, I'm leaning more towards more likely than not, I will be continuing after the 6 months. I am going through some kind of just big, changes in my life right now. Part of that's related to work and stuff like that. And so, um, there's a lot of different factors there, but I do want to continue. And depending again on how this live stream goes, I'm thinking I might switch over to just doing more live streams. That's going to save me a ton of time from having to like pre-record the videos and then having to go back and edit them. And so this is going to be potentially could be a huge time saver and a way for me to potentially be able to continue producing videos and potentially even produce more videos in less time. So again, hopefully you guys are finding this valuable. And again, if you guys have any questions, let me know. But I do want to move on to the next thing I wanted to cover here. So just give me 1 second. Like I said, I'm still getting the hang of this live streaming software here. So let's see. Okay, so we went over the document. We went over what was the next thing? Okay, so the next thing I wanted to go over was sorry, 1 second. I'm like all over the place here. Let's see. Yeah, honestly, I really wanted to spend more time going over the document, but I unfortunately just don't have time. So I did have some other notes about the document. Let me just quickly skim through them here and see if there's any, maybe like 1 or 2 last key points I wanted to make from that. Yeah, it just does a really good job, I think, overall of like explaining what the new age is, number one, and then number two, kind of highlighting those differences where new age thinking and new age paradigm um, conflicts with Catholic teaching. And so there's a few major things. Quickly speak on them. New age is all about like placing the authority. Spiritual authority is all about, it all comes from personal inner experience. It also talks about how new age tries to marry countercultural values with the mainstream need to succeed. It also places a lot of value on, again, on peak experiences. This was so true for me, where anything which can provoke an altered state of consciousness is believed to lead to unity and enlightenment. Another thing that New Age does is it like cherry picks from all these Eastern religions and philosophies, but then it also completely breaks from the tradition that formed them. And so it's a pretty like superficial spirituality that again is very focused on experience and feeling good versus, from my perspective now, the Catholic faith teaches that real spirituality, right? Authentic spirituality is not all about just feeling good, but it's a more mature spirituality. It's a more sober minded spirituality Not to say that you can't, of course, have spiritual or transcendent experiences. Of course, the Catholic faith is filled with also a more mystical side, which is really interesting. And I haven't fully dived into that aspect of the faith yet. And I'm aware of the reason why I haven't is because, again, there is a little bit of that internal resistance still, as I'm still healing from all of the sort of traumatic experiences I had in those new age spaces. But I know, again, just that there is obviously a time and a place for that. But another thing that this document highlights when it comes to that, for example, because I know the saints, I know there's some saints that talk about these like, mystical experiences in prayer. And I have had some of those experiences as well, actually, um, which maybe I'll talk about in the future. Um, but a key difference is that, again, Christian prayer, the document says, Christian prayer is not an exercise in self contemplation, stillness, and self emptying, but a dialogue of love, one which implies an attitude of conversion, a flight from self to the you of God. So that's, I think, a really awesome distinction that it makes there, again, between a lot of these like New Age or Eastern meditative practices, which are all about the self and going into the self and emptying yourself, versus Christian Catholic um, contemplation and prayer is a dialogue, right? It's about a relationship, a relational dialogue with God. And so, and with Jesus Christ, right? And so that's a key distinction that the document talks about. And again, it talks about the experience of meeting the stranger who offers us the water of life as a key to the way that Christians can and should engage in dialogue with anyone who does not know Jesus. Um, yeah, I just love that so much. And maybe the last thing, again, to end here, to kind of bring it full circle, like I said, the document also talks about acknowledging the sincerity of people's searching for the truth, which again, I always try to do. And obviously, again, like as someone who was so deep into all of the new age stuff and was so lost as I was searching for the truth, I have nothing but the utmost compassion and empathy for people in those spaces. And I never, never want to come across as condemning or judging people for people who might be in those spaces. Um, what else? But again, yeah, just the goal is to provide an invitation, right, to meet Jesus Christ, the bearer of the water of life. And it talks about how this invitation carries more weight when it is made by someone who has clearly been profoundly affected by his or her own encounter with Jesus. So yeah, I think I might pause on that point, or end on that point, but just as an encouragement for anybody who has had their own encounter with Jesus, anybody who might be watching this, right? If you're not sharing that with others, right? Like you have, you have, there's so much power in an invitation from you. And I think from my experience and from what I've seen, typically when somebody has had an encounter with Jesus, right, a real authentic encounter with Jesus, you kind of like can't help but want to share that with others. So again, I'm gonna shift gears now. Hopefully you guys found that helpful, interesting, insightful. Let me know your thoughts. But I am going to have to start to wrap this up here. So I did also want to go over, again, I'm just kind of experimenting with the format for these live streams. So another thing I thought might be interesting to do, but I don't think I'm really going to have time, is to go over some of the top videos that I found really interesting, really fascinating from the past week. Actually, some of these were maybe more than like the past week, might have been from a few weeks ago. But I'm constantly watching long form interviews, and so and that's also a note, that's something I'm considering doing in the future. I got that feedback or that suggestions from a couple people as well, to potentially start interviewing other people on this channel as well. But yeah, there was 3 really amazing long form interviews that I want to share with you guys. Again, I'm not going to have time, unfortunately, to kind of go over them, but I will link them. Actually, I have them here. So let me just go ahead. I'm just going to drop them in the comments right now, and then I'll add them to the description when I finish this interview, or sorry, this live stream. But the first one is an interview with Dan Burke. It's on the Lila Rose podcast. Really amazing interview about hearing God's voice, and yeah, just awesome interview. So let me link that one. The next one is interview on the Lex Friedman podcast. So this is my first time um, watching one of Lex Friedman's podcasts, and it was with Tucker Carlson. It was really, really good. Um, I was honestly really impressed by Tucker Carlson. I've obviously heard a lot about him, but it was my first time actually watching a long form interview with him. So highly recommend that one. And then the last one is an interview that just came out yesterday with Jordan Peterson and Destiny. So that was a super interesting kind of heated debate between Jordan Peterson and Destiny. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that one in the comments for anybody who wants to check that out. And let's see what else. All right. And then lastly, like I said, I did want to share a little bit about my experience meeting Ruslan at the Live Action Young Adult Leader Summit, which was last weekend here in my hometown, actually. And so it was super cool. There was a bunch of speakers. Obviously, if you're not familiar with Live Action, it's one of the leading anti-abortion, pro-life organizations that's run by Lila Rose, who is the same lady who the first interview video that I dropped in the comments. Amazing podcast, amazing organization. And yeah, super cool. I got to meet Ruslan. After the event was over, I got to talk to him a little bit, shared with him that I was starting this YouTube channel, and got some advice from him. And so basically the advice he had for me was to do live streams, and so here I am doing my first live stream. And again, the idea is that it's going to really one, allow me to be able to produce way more content, and two, with way less time, because I don't have to edit these videos. I think I can edit them in like right before I upload it to YouTube. Again, this is my first time doing this, so again, thank you guys for your patience. But that's kind of the main thing, and kind of what he was encouraging me to do is to just focus on, again, getting more content out and trusting that as I increase the quantity of videos that I'm putting out, then the quality will also increase. And so definitely an edge for me to overcome my perfectionism with that. And yeah, so anyway, I'm giving it a shot, and he actually did also tell me, as we were kind of parting ways, he told me, like, once I get some momentum, he said, let me know if you want to have me on the channel. And so I was like, absolutely, that would be amazing. But then I was kind of kicking myself afterwards because I forgot to get his contact info. And so Ruslan, if you do happen to see this, I hope hopefully we'll cross paths again. Or if you're seeing this, please send me a message, and I would love to, keep in touch and have you on the channel at some point. But it's all in God's plan and God's will. So either way, I'm again just grateful for the opportunity to be sharing and to using this platform to again share my story for the glory of God, and to hopefully raise awareness around the dangers of New Age spirituality. Hopefully, reach those who might still be searching, but starting to realize that that it's not the answer that they've been looking for. And then for those who are already, practicing Christians or Catholics, to just, again, be more aware of it, because obviously New Age has become so widespread in our culture today. So yeah, with all of that, I think I'm going to wrap this up here. Let me just check my notes and make sure, see if there was anything else I wanted to say. Okay, so yeah, so very last thing, I do just want to let you guys know that, you know, this channel is a labor of love, and all the expenses are coming out of my own pocket, which I've been happy to do. But if I am going to continue this channel moving forward and continue potentially doing more live streams or interviewing people, obviously I need to continue to invest in better equipment to continue to increase the quality, and just to continue to level up these videos. So if you guys do want to support, I have put my Venmo link in the description of this video, so you can, any amount would be greatly appreciated. But definitely no expectation there. Just wanted to extend that, invitation for anybody who does want to support financially. I would greatly appreciate that. I actually had to stream this from my MacBook today because I didn't have the right like cables and stuff I need to be able to stream from my digital camera. So it's not super expensive. I looked at everything I need. I think it's like $150 or something like that. But again, I'm kind of in a transitional phase right now, figuring out what I'm doing work wise. And so I just don't have the budget for anything extra right now. So again, I'm just streaming from my MacBook today, but hopefully in the future, I could stream from my digital camera, which would make the quality of this stream a lot better. So again, if you feel called to do that, then thank you so much in advance. God bless you. And if you don't, it's totally fine. I appreciate just your time, your attention, and prayers are definitely appreciated as well. Be assured of my prayers for you, and please pray for me. And again, thank you all for those of you who tuned in or who are catching the replay. I do got to run because I'm going to, like I mentioned, the Stations of the Cross tonight. They have it every Friday at my church, my parish. So I'm going to head out to that right now. But thank you guys again. God bless you, and I will see you in the next video.